This is the prize for the. How will I judge the best student? The least disruptive student in the workshop.
Disruptive, she's saying cost effective.
Quiet.
Cost effective, she's saying, but I would say that it is sustainability.
Yeah.
Cost effective, because in every branch we've got all different kinds, like digital microscope, camera, all laptops now are coming. Laptops, computer labs.
But just
students use also.
sure. But remember that the slide I showed you first was American students who provided all their own equipment. The universities provide nothing. The university doesn't even provide them the services now of email and so on. They are provided from outside. So I'm not talking about Beaconhouse buying those. Yeah, I'm talking about a student comes to Beaconhouse and Beaconhouse says, your child is going to have one of these at home. We know you're going to get them one of these. Could you get them this model or something like that? Because this is the one that's most compatible with what we use. Or, you know, the mobile phone. If you get them a mobile phone, make sure you've got a reasonable camera on the back, because we will expect them to be using that as part of the curriculum. Right, well, let's have a look at... I'm going to come back to this slide. These are some more questions. 20 past 3. I finish at 5 to 4, that's right, isn't it? Yeah. Can you see that graph? I don't know if you... I use these nice blank slides, but it might not have been the best idea. They look really nice on my screen here. This is from the OECD, the Organisation of Economic Cooperation and Development. Right? It is a research body of about 40, Pakistan isn't part of it, but about 40 of sort of Western countries. And what the OECD does, it does a number of things. In education, it regularly tests children, it regularly researches what's the best teaching methods to use, and where are things going. So it's looked at an analysis of jobs. This is a graph that they produced up to 2002 from 1960. And they took these different aspects of people's work in the countries I'm talking about. Routine manual, non-routine manual jobs, routine cognitive jobs, non-routine analytic jobs, and non-routine interactive jobs. That's how they categorize them. I.e., you're moving away from manual to more theoretical jobs. You're moving away from routine to non-routine. And if you look here, they all started, they reckon, around about the 50%, if you took it then. Routine, non-routine interactive has gone up to nearly 65% by 2002. Routine cognitive, simple jobs, but you use your brain for them, have gone right down. Why have routine cognitive gone right down? Because computers can do a lot of that now. And if we look at non-routine analytic, it's gone up. If we look at routine manual, it's gone down. The point of this is, what they're saying is, if we're looking at the sort of world we're preparing our young people for that we don't know, we can look at the trends there and say to ourselves, we've obviously got to be getting them to be less routine, more analytic, more theoretical. Those are the directions that education's got to go in. Because we don't know what the world's going to be like, but we do know the children that we're bringing up are going to go into a world where everything is changing. So, 21st century skills. This is from, I don't know if any of you have read the book, The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman. It's a book which tries to look at the way the world's going. Personal computer enabled millions of individuals to become authors of their own content in digital form. Couldn't do that before, you write it. The spread of the internet and the emergence of the World Wide Web enabled more people than ever to be connected and share their knowledge. And the emergence of software standards, that's an interesting one that people don't think of, means that people are able to seamlessly work together and upload and globalize content. So for instance, I was saying to you, we could use that mind mapping piece of software, and you could all share this, we could all share the same mind map, really, and that's because it's the same standard, and we could all do it. But these are things that have already happened, and they, if you like, we've almost passed these by now. We accept that we can all do this. I mean, I can remember seeing word processing at an early stage and showing my friends, and them all being amazed when I justified, you know what justifying the text is, gets it all to be nice and even down the straight line this side as it is that. And at that time it was very slow, but you could see the text lining itself up. Previous to that, all they'd ever seen was a typewriter. Suddenly on the screen you could do this. We don't even think that's anything particularly special. You've got to try and remember what has happened and how revolutionary the changes that have taken place have, if you're going to try and predict the future. I'm going to skip some of these. These are some of the skills that the OECD think we're going to need for the future. We want great collaborators and orchestrators. We want great synthesizers. This is what our children have to become. Great explainers. They've got to be very versatile. They've also got to be able to take all sorts of information, the business, one of the disruptive elements that we were talking about. They've got to be able to sort information out and put it together. They've got to be great personalizers and localists. But I'm not going to spend long on these. This is a question that maybe we could think about. Can you read that question, all right? Yeah? Everybody at the back? It's not too small. So when we test children at school, they've gone through 2 years of learning something, and then we test them. And what are they being tested at? We're looking back at what they're supposed to have learned. They're expected to look back for the last 2 years and repeat what they have learned. That's what they're tested on. But maybe that's not the skills that we really want. We really want them to be able to look ahead and extrapolate from what they've learned in the last 2 years and demonstrate that they can now produce something new. Is that right? Do we do that? Second one. Does anybody feel that they're involved? I mean, most of our exams do this, but maybe some of you are involved in some sort of examination system or way of assessing children, which... What was that? Anybody? Why don't we do that?
Because the teachers are afraid to do that.
Because what?
Because the teachers are afraid to do that.
But why don't we do it though? Because you don't want to do it.
Yes.
Actually, we are afraid of the failure.
Does everybody agree with that? We all agree with it, don't we? Or do we not? Who doesn't agree with it? We don't want the children just to regurgitate facts that they've already learned. We want them to show that they can apply those facts in new settings and demonstrate that they've learned something. Do we not do that in any of our exams? I would say, I'm a maths teacher, I would say that when we, in A-level maths for instance, is anybody else a maths teacher here? You're a maths teacher, a woman, good. 2 men said they were maths teachers, so I thought, well, this is... So, when we do A-level maths, we've taught them a lot of stuff about maths, and then we ask them to solve problems. Alright, they are they're using the knowledge they've already got, but we're expecting them never to have come across that problem before, so we are expecting them to apply their knowledge there. In English, I'm sure that if you ask them to write an essay, a critical essay of a particular novel that they've read or something like that, then they might prepare themselves by trying to learn all the questions, but there is an attempt to get them to apply knowledge. and skills to a novel setting, isn't there? We do try and do it. We don't do it very well. Yes, but we don't do it very well. I don't think we do, because I think it is very difficult to do.
Beaconhouse Group, I think we all have started trying.
Yes.
And we are doing it. Most of us are doing it.
So it is difficult, it's difficult, but we are trying.
That's right. I mean, that's... So, this is to do with, if you like, the overload of knowledge. To some extent, we've been talking about it. The tradition of education systems has been knowledge poor. We restrict the amount of knowledge children have access to, and so on. The future of education systems, and this is again OECD that's saying this, is knowledge rich. Lots of information for young people. They've obviously got to learn how to sort it out.
Actually, I want to say something about it. If it's knowledge rich, then we should not, if we agree that children should be knowledge rich and education system should be knowledge rich, we should not have exams. Because then again we are focusing to one thing. Traditional, at the end we are coming to that.
Well, the exams would say, go and look online, synthesize the information you've got there, sort it out, and come back with something. So,
yes, small project-based learning.
Yeah.
Or we can go for the multiple.
We're going to look at a graph like this. We're going to look at teachers. Traditional education is knowledge poor. The future is knowledge rich. National prescription in terms of the curriculum. Professional judgment in terms of the curriculum. So, what is it? You don't have a national curriculum in Pakistan, do you? BSS has a curriculum. Yeah. To what extent is what you teach in your classroom prescribed by the organisation, and to what extent are you able to use your own professional judgment as to what you teach?
It's a judgment act, because we have to come up and meet the deadlines and the timetabling and the bell times, and on the other hand we have been given this opportunity to be very creative and involve students in thematic projects which could go anywhere, and they can't be time restricted, and we have to experiment to become very comfortable with applying new technology in the classroom. On the other hand, we have the scheme of works and we have very rigid timetabling and everything, so we have to decide